Welcome back everybody. So in this video we are going to be covering levitation photography and how to edit the photos once you've taken them. Now I do have two sample photos for you guys to try this on before you use your own. Something that I want to point out before we jump into this is that these are two photos that are pretty much completely identical when it comes to the camera position. It is super important that when you're taking your photos that the camera does not move. So you are going to want to use a tripod and work in small groups so that you have one person responsible for taking the photo and one person responsible for modeling. And you are going to need two specific photos. One photo that is completely empty with no props, no people in it, or anything, and the second photo will have the person, whether they are sitting on a prop, standing on a prop, laying on a prop, etc. Okay, so now we can get started. I have my two demo photos that you guys can find in Google Classroom, and the first one that we are going to open up is the empty background photo. So I'm going to right click, open with Photoshop, and here we are. Okay, so now that we have that open, what we're going to do is we're going to go down to our Finder, which we talked about briefly. This is where we find all of our files. And now you can actually just simply go to your downloads and drag in the second photo, and it'll land right on top there. Click the check mark up at the top of your screen to get rid of those little crop lines. And we just want to double check to make sure nothing moved and everything is perfectly aligned. To do that, we just click this little eyeball right here on the last layer that we added. And you can see that everything is pretty much perfectly aligned. Obviously, it's never going to be completely perfect. You can even tell that the exposure of the photo changed. But don't worry, this is still going to come out amazing. Alright, so everything is all good. So now you're going to be so surprised how super easy this is. All we have to do is we have to create a layer mask on this photo. So we've went over adjustment layers, and adjustment layers have layer mask built in. But for this, we actually have to add our own. To do that, we go down to the layers panel towards the bottom. We're very familiar with this area. But instead of clicking adjustment layers this time, we are actually going to click the Add Layer Mask button. And when you click that, you'll notice that it adds a layer mask right to your photo. Now, as we already know, you have to make sure to have the layer mask selected before you do anything. You know that the layer mask is selected when you have these little corners. Otherwise, if I click this, now I know the photo is selected. So make sure your layer mask is selected. Make sure it's all white. Go into your brush tool. Again, you can click B on your keyboard to get to that. And last but not least, make sure that your brush is completely black. I always like to reset to the default colors and then just flip it so that the brush is black. And now from here, like I said, it's so easy. All you do is you color black over the prop that is making the person look like they're sitting, so that when you get rid of that, it'll look like they are levitating. And I mean, I can't stress like how simple of a process this is. The only thing that really can make or break your photo is if your camera ends up moving. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you are utilizing a tripod, working in small groups, all that jazz. Alright, so that is it for the levitation photography tutorial. This is a really fun project, so I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Good luck!